happened is men started accusing women who were alewives of being witches. They would say things like, after you had Mistress Cecily's ale and you'd had, I don't know, 10 or 12 pints, was it difficult for you to remember what happened last night? Oh, well that's not because you're intoxicated, that's because she put something in there and the devil came and took you during that time. And that's why you can't remember. And so witches kept getting accused, alewives kept getting accused of being witches, and they were being burned at the stake. Now, I do not know about you, but I really don't want flammability to be one of my job hazards. So a lot of women left the world of alewifing because it just wasn't safe. And it stayed that way for 300 years. Only recently are we seeing women back in brewing. And so we do try to uplift female brewers at this show. People that you can go and see within a few hour carriage ride here in Revel Grove. And today we are uplifting 10 Ike Brewery. 10 Ike is all woman owned. All of them have been in the service of either
His Majesty or the Mayor.
And it is just across the lovely bridge.
In the town of the Queen's Town.
So we lift them up. They have all, again, they do small batch. So if you go there today and you go back in 6 weeks, they have about 4 beers that will constantly be there and the rest of them are forever rotating. But, as we mentioned earlier, this is a 9-week show. And each week we will talk about a different libation. And so last week we would have talked about beer, so we talked a little more about beer this week. And in the coming weeks...
Well, I did talk about beer in it.
You did.
Yes.
In the coming weeks we will talk about wine.
Aye, and we will talk about whiskey.
And cider.
Ooh, yes, and rum.
And Jennifer or gin.
Yes. And then...
Specialty drinks.
Oh yes, and brandy.
And brandy.
I forgot brandy. And brandy and Calvados and Armagnac, those that are like that. But this week...
we are talking about everyone at the Renaissance Festival's favorite drink. We're talking about mead! And I believe to introduce that, Master Connor has a song.
Yes. A lovely lass, as sweet as honey, was friends with all the bees. They gave their best to the keep, one girl, and she turned it into mead. A gallant young man set out on a quest to drink till he could no more. He chanced upon the maiden of mead, not knowing what was in store. I cannot get drunk, he told her, my mates have tried and failed. Bottles of brandy, whiskey and wine, and barrels of beer and ale. You've never tried my honey sweet, nor drank the bees quite best. If ever you wanted to try to get drunk, then this would be your test. He gazed into her lovely eyes and sipped the finest mead. A smile danced across his face, marvelous indeed. She poured him another mug of mead, her hand grazed his cheek. He tipped the cup, saw her red lips, and felt weak in the knees. I've been not sure how drunk feels. I've been not sure how drunk feels, he said, since I've never been before. Then he held out the mug, and from the bottle she poured him even more. Her skin so fair with cheeks of rose just took his breath away. He emptied the glass and looked at her as if he had something to say. Still unsure if it was a mead or if it was a maid. He realized that he cared not as long as the feeling stayed. If this is what drunk feels like, then sober I'll never be. For I have met my match at last with the maiden of the mead. For I have met my match at last in the maiden of the mead.
So mead is a honey-based drink, and it is made, once again, the same for everything, is that you have to have yeast, right? So now you would add yeast, but at our time it is natural, it is in the air.
And because there is more sugars in the honey than there is in grains, you have a higher alcohol content.
Because there's more sugar
For the yeast to
eat.
eat and turn to alcohol.
So, but it does, and the way it does, and it depends on how long you let it eat the sugars, right? And how much you let. Because if you let it eat all of the sugars up, you're going to wind up with a much drier meat. If you stop the process sooner, you're going to wind up with a sweeter meat. And much like ale, you can add things to meat to give them different flavors. There is a lovely, again going with our upholding female-owned establishment, there is a lovely meadery up in the land of the Burg of Getty, and just outside of it, New Oxford. I liked Old Oxford just fine, but all right, New Oxford. And it is called?
It is called Doggone Bees. D-A-W-G.
And they make lovely meads in a wide variety, including one made with lavender that we highly recommend.
But they also have some very traditional meads that are rich and just wonderful.
They are. It is lovely. But so mead, again, it is taken. It is put the honey in. You put the yeast in. You put it into a barrel, and then you are going to let it sit, and it is going to ferment. And you will add some water to it. And how much water, the water to honey ratio is also going to be part of how strong it becomes. But honestly, not a lot has changed since they were making mead 1,000 years ago. And I doubt much will change in the next 1,000 years, because the only thing you could really do is make sure the equipment was cleaner. Because the process really is just the same. It's that simple and that difficult. Because there is no specific set of steps. It takes instinct and intuition. And how much of this little bit of this do you put in, and this little bit of that do you put in? And what happens if I put in a half a cup more of this and a half a cup less of that? So it is a great deal of experimentation. I find that people that enjoy the sciences, those of you who know there are 7 planets, yes, you people, the smart ones. You will do really well at making mead, because you really have to vary all those ratios in order to make meads that taste different. And it's much akin to baking that way. A tiny change can make in an ingredient and what you put in and the amount can make a huge difference. So, does anyone have any questions?
Well, actually, we would take questions, but we got a later start, and we do have someone that is ready to take the stage here, a lovely harpist. So we will take questions over here. We also have a few items of merchandise if you would like to purchase them. However, if you have any questions, please do come to us. We love to make things.
We love to sell these.
Well, everything we make up is absolutely true as far as you know.
And we will end with a traditional toast for everyone.
Yes. There are fast ships.
And there are slow ships.
And there are ships upon the sea.
But the best ships
are friendships. And may they always be. Goodly gentles, I have been Master Arnold Carter.
I am Mistress Cecily Clack. This has been
Cask and Flask, and do come back.
Next upon this